Stace, are you there, Stacy?
Yeah.
There's no option for me to go live. Where is the live gone? Can you make it live on your side?
Okay, it might be because I'm in here. Let me see.
Can you try to make it live?
I'll do it.
Thanks.
I'm gonna mute myself.
Can I record the session or?
We're recording it.
Okay, so you would send it later on?
Hi, everyone. Hello. Hi. Welcome to our weekly series on Green is the New Black here. We are super excited to be with you here tonight or today if you're tuning in from Europe. My name is Stephanie and I'm the founder of Green is the New Black, and we're super excited to be here. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers tonight and really interesting topic. So for those joining us for the first time, we are Green is New Black. We are a media platform who also runs large conscious festivals in Singapore, Hong Kong, and we are expanding to Europe as well. So we typically bring thousands of people together to really look at providing resources and tips for both businesses and individuals on how they can operate more consciously by implementing what we call little green steps. So these are small but very impactful steps that will actually help us to lead to making systemic change in the fight against climate change. So we are very excited today to also be welcoming viewers from Le Monde d'Après. I'm sorry if my American accent completely ruined that beautiful French phrase, but a big thank you to Adrian and his team for giving us the opportunity to live stream the session on their platforms as well. So welcome to all of you. This is our seventh event. We've been running these weekly series since everything went on lockdown around the world. So we welcome you, and tonight we're going to be talking about consciousness, neuroscience, and accepting changes. So we're looking at accepting the new normal, accepting the fact that we actually need to move on from the world which is broken and creating a lot of inequalities and sufferings. So our first speaker, we're going to deep dive into understanding how our consciousness works, and with our second speaker, we're going to be integrating that and understanding that through our bodies. If you have any questions or comments throughout their presentations, please drop it in the comments section and we'll be reading them out at the end to answer any questions or to share any wonderful comments that you want to share with our two facilitators tonight. So diving straight in, we have Thomas. He is a French psychotherapist, personal development facilitator, breathwork specialist, speaker, sound engineer, and multidisciplinary artist. Basically, he's all around awesome. He's been exploring sound, consciousness, and creative process for the last 25 years, and he specializes in therapies, traditional practices based on healing and empowering potential of expanded states of consciousness. So Thomas, a very warm welcome to you and handing over to you for this session.
Thanks, Stephanie. Yeah, so today I'll be speaking about consciousness, about the different state of consciousness, and how you can use it to achieve certain goals and to progress and to change. And so these states of consciousness are known from the birth of humanity. It's in every tradition there's a way to achieve a different state of consciousness, and these states are interesting because they open doors that you're not aware of, and these doors gives you access to your whole being. It's a way to reach every part of your being, the 5 different parts you're made of, which are your body, your energy, your emotions, your mental, and your spiritual. So my background about this is just in a short word. I've been starting with it when I was 22. I got taken by a native guy in Mexico to a shaman. It was completely unexpected. And after 2 sessions with this shaman, I understood that consciousness was much wider than what I thought it was. And there was much more to reality than what I was used to, of course. I have experienced expansion of consciousness first. You're expanding, you can merge with your surrounding, you're beyond your limits, and you feel the connection with the whole world around you, with nature, and it really changed your perception of you being separated from the rest. Then the second experience was unconditional love, which is also a life-changing experience. For the first time of my life, I was experiencing love for everything, and I could put a feeling, an experience on the things I had read in books about spirituality, religion. All these topics were much more clear because I've experienced it. It's all the difference between experiencing and reading or understanding fundamental or believing in someone else's story. That's the main difference. And few years later, as I was asked to do a conference about shamanism, I met a guy preparing my PowerPoint. I met a guy called Stan Grof, and this psychologist and psychiatrist is very famous for using non-ordinary state of consciousness or expanded state of consciousness for healing, for therapy, for psychotherapy. It's a scientist. He has started his work in the Soviet Union because he's Czech at the beginning in the 50s. So it was very scientific, rigorous, materialist, Cartesian, pure science, and they used this state of consciousness. They knew from all the traditions, and you can achieve it from different techniques. Some techniques are just drumming. If you're going to a shaman, he would play a drum and then you would enter into a trance. Then you could reach this state. You can also do it through power plants. Some other shamans are using power plants. The one I've been in Mexico was using mushrooms. And you can achieve it through meditation, of course. It's a longest process because meditation takes time to reach a certain point, but of course, it is very efficient if you're practicing. And you can achieve it through entering by the body, pushing your body to its limits. If you are exposing your body to extreme cold or extreme heat, or starvation or extreme tiredness, through dancing for many days, as they do in Peru, for instance, then you would achieve that state. And in the case of Grof, they were using a new compound in the 50s that was spread all over the world for researching about consciousness. And this compound is famous now because it got a long history. It's called LSD-25. It's the compound that was used primarily for psychotherapy, and they got amazing results with it. And from the many sessions they did, 5,000 and something, with any kind of pathology, any conditions, they could map the consciousness a different way, and they could extend the map of consciousness, actually. At the psychological level, we had two different parts. There was the biographic part and the subconscious part. And now they added the transpersonal realm and the perinatal realm. So perinatal is all what's around the birth, and transpersonal, it's the kind of experience that goes beyond your person, that goes beyond your ego, beyond your constructed self, and makes you grow through accessing your whole self. So these experiences are really interesting. The biographic ones are also very interesting for growing and changing, because you can fix all your problems. You can be aware of your conditioning. You can understand who you are and why you are this person through the different experiences you had. You've got access to your subconscious. So you finally can understand what makes you react and the way you're behaving and why you're behaving that way. So you can change and choose to act instead of reacting. And that's the interesting point. So later on, Grof turned to another practice, that's breathwork, because in the early 70s, late 60s, when the Nixon administration forbid all these compounds because of the Vietnam War and the student protest, and they turned to breathwork, and they could achieve the same with breathwork, which is a technique that's also known from the beginning and everywhere in the world. Every tradition has a way to achieve this state through breathwork or through chanting, which is also kind of breathwork, or through special physical activity, which is also a kind of breathwork. And they kept going with this. So what are the different kind of experiences you can achieve? And what's interesting is that it would change completely your state of consciousness first, and then later on it will change if you work with it, and if you're doing a complete process, it will change your stage of consciousness. So it's different. State and stage is different. You would grow, and you would understand more things, and you would be closer to the truth, or closer to the to the truth. It's got a capacity, for instance, to make you feel and understand the ecological realm, all the reverence for nature, the connection for nature. You will feel it like instinctively. It would become natural. You after this kind of experience, when you have reached a connection with the whole, you wouldn't think about acting the same and being bad with nature, or you would understand the way we are spoiling nature actually, and this would come from within. It's not from the mental. So the interest of these states of consciousness is that you can change people. And we used to think that in the Western tradition, people are not into these kind of experiences, are not into this state of consciousness. Most of us think that the culture is made by science and not by spirituality, but actually it's not. And what we are missing now, what's lacking in the modern society and in the Western culture, it's this access to this realm and to these spiritual experiences you can have. Because I don't remember who said it, but the quote is very nice. Actually, we are not a human being having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And once you understand this, this reverse thing, everything changes. And so in the beginning of the Western culture, in the ancient Greece, there was a rite, a ritual called the mystery of Eleusis. And every person that was to a certain level in the Republic would pass through that rite. So all the scientists who made mathematics or philosophy from the ancient Greece, they passed through that rite, the rite called the mystery of Eleusis. And during that rite, 3,000 people were passing at the same time, and they were given to drink a brew called Kikeon, which is a psychoactive brew, which gives you access to this non-ordinary state of consciousness, to this expanded consciousness, to all these insights you can get through that. And so many of the scientific discoveries, many of the mathematics of the philosophy comes from people who achieved that state and got insights from this state. So actually the Western culture is built on it. We just forgot it. And we turned to science, and we completely forgot the ritual side of it, which is a pity, because if we had kept it, and if the good thing is that now it's starting again in a way. The research on psychedelics, the research on the state of consciousness is starting again everywhere in the world. In the United States, they have programs. In Brazil, I have a friend who's working on PTSD with MDMA. In England, they work with psilocybin. In Israel, they work also in many countries. They're working on it. And we could imagine something, and then I'm linking to the topic of the day, that change. And because there is a change that happens anyway, the thing we are in at the moment, the chain, COVID, economic crisis, climate change. So this is a change that's happening to us, but there is also a change that we could make happen. Because if we want to be able to save the planet, if we want to be able to reorganize the economy, if we want to be able to be less in a fear mode, because we are living in a fear mode. We are just grown up into fear. You will, if you're not working enough at school, then you will not have food, then you will be without a roof. And once you are in, it's the same thing. If you don't keep going, then you will be in trouble. You will not be able to pay your tax. You will be da, da, da. So instead of that fear, we could pass through a new ritual, for instance, and help people understand their connection with nature, their connection with themselves, so they wouldn't be afraid by their conditioning, because these states are interesting for deconditioning. The first thing you do when the first thing a shaman tells you when you go to see him, it's, before I teach you something, you will have to forget all you've learned. It means you will have to forget your conditioning. And through deconditioning, you stop being afraid. And stopping being afraid, everything is possible. Everything becomes possible. And you have no limit, and you can apply your skills and capacity to everything. So in a way, yeah, it's deconditioning. And on the other hand, it's reconditioning or re-experiencing things with a different perspective, a different point of view, and you would spontaneously understand what it's all about, and the way we should deal with nature, the way we should deal with one another, the way we should organize more pleasant way of living, with a reorganization of the work, of the economy, of the social relationships. Everything would turn completely different. If you take an example, which is a bit extreme or old or with connotation, if you go back to the 70s or to the late 60s, what happened when these kids started to take psychedelics? They suddenly turned into pacifists. They didn't want to go anymore to they didn't want to go to the war. They wanted to make love instead of going to the war. They wanted to reorganize the society, to change the way people were interacting. They started to live with groups instead of being on their own. So they made it their way. So we can, of course, criticize the hippie movement and the way they did it, and it was not serious, it was not sustainable, it was not. But it completely flipped their mind, and they changed from consumerism, selfishness, to make love and be present for the group and reorganize the way you were working and behaving. So yeah, there's a big potential in it. So yeah, basically, to go back to how it works in your psyche and within your body, there are 5 parts of yourself, your body. So entering these states could fix physical problems. You could feel some energy, some waves, some tingling, some readjustment, and go back sometimes to old injuries, and that would finish to diffuse and to clear. You can access your energy system. So the energy is how you feel. If you feel good, energized, or if you feel tired and lazy, this directly acts on your energy system, and you can improve it. Then you can act on your emotions and your emotional system. You can get rid of blocked emotions that are linked to past traumas. You can clear all these bad experiences you had who put you in a certain way of behaving, a reacting way, instead of acting. And because these emotions would show up every time a certain situation would happen. And then you would just try to adapt to avoid these negative emotions instead of being able to choose how you feel. Then after the emotion, of course, it acts on the mental, because the mental is, there's a chain. The mental is thinking, and the thinking creates emotions. So when you quiet the mental, and when you stop being in a loop mode of thinking, of fear, pressure you're putting on yourself by yourself, and then you start to quiet your mind. And when your mind is quiet, then that's where insights can come, and that's where creativity happens. That's where the best of you can happen. You can't feel something that's already filled, or you can't see through the water, as the Buddhists used to say as an example that's perfect. You can see through the water of the lake if you keep moving the water. When you stop moving the water, then you will see through the water, and you will see till the deepest of the lake. And that's exactly what happens when you're quieting your mind. And the last kind is, the fifth one, is the spiritual. Of course, you can experience very deep spiritual experiences. You can expand to the infinite. You can identify to any kind of consciousness. You can experience everything. You can turn into everything, because everything is conscious. Everything is consciousness. It comes before matter. If we go into quantum physics, you understand that there is a field of possibility first, with nothing but everything possible. And it's only consciousness that makes things becoming real. Matter exists only through consciousness. If there's no consciousness to observe matter, there is no matter. And this is a scientific evidence. You can reproduce the experiment as much as you want. So yeah, basically it's about, and the good thing is that it's growing. More and more people are doing these experiences. More and more people are interested in it. Even very high level people, influenced people are doing this and talking about it now. So the people are changing, their minds are changing. The way we are looking at these things is changing also. It's been a lot of false information for 50 years about these topics because of the war on drugs, because of the politics, and many reasons, and the medical also, and the psychiatrist also. All in one, there were a lot of reasons. And now it's reopening again, and this is a chance, and it's something that could change the world for real if we use it wisely, because of course it's a very powerful tool and you have to use it very wisely. But there are ways, by just educating people and taking the good care about this. Yeah, so that's the way consciousness can be used, and the way accessing different state of consciousness can be used. The easiest way is the breath work, because you don't have to go to a foreign country trying some plants or whatever. You can do it through your own supply, just through the breath. Experiment one session of breath work, and you will understand what it is to expand and what it is to access the whole thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thomas. That was really amazing, and a great summary of the history, I think, as well, when dealing with psychedelics and understanding the consciousness element in a little bit of our recent past. So thank you for walking us through that. I think what is very interesting and prevalent here is this disconnection from the ego, you know, and being able to then disconnect from the mind, create that space that you talked about, so that we can actually allow the space for insights. And I think it also helps with more compassion, you know, right? Really activating that side, which is really important when we're looking at how we can, you know, have more compassion for humanity, but also for the planet. So thank you so much. We have a couple of questions. First is, why do you think that psychedelics are not being used more in medical fields? So I know there's obviously some trials and testings now going on, especially using it for things like depression, anxiety, those kind of things. But, you know, questions come through about why you think it's maybe not being used more widely.
It's starting actually. There are protocols in the United States where they can use MDMA for PTSD already. In Brazil, they are on the way. In England, they got very good results for depression with psilocybin. So it's on its way. The problem we had, the only reason we had, is that it's been 50 years of war on drugs, and it was put in the same box as the other bad drugs. So that was the big mistake, because these are not bad drugs. These are tools. These are tools that used from the beginning of humanity, and we've grown up through that tool, through these tools, and forbid it was a big mistake. We lost 50 years of progress, and so we are studying. It's like if we were taking back the story to the 70s, and we're going now with it. But it goes fast, and we've got more ways and more science to explore it, so it will go faster. And if everybody goes together, it will grow big very soon. Be sure that within 10 years, everywhere in the world, you can use these substances and these natural plants to achieve healing, actually, and progress and personal development.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're definitely going to be seeing this more and more. So yeah, completely right. So one other question here. Why is this topic linked to climate change and environmental issues? So just kind of bringing us back to, I guess, making that link.
Yeah. It's linked because the way you access, let's say, accessing this state of consciousness will make you understand naturally, spontaneously, all these topics and all these problems. And if everybody would experiment it and change their mind about it, no one would make any more mistakes against the planet and would act badly about the climate and the environment. You take all the, let's say, just for fun, you take all the presidents, all the ministers, all the people in charge, and you put them in a place where they could experiment it wisely. And then the next day, for sure, I bet I put my hand on fire. The next day they meet and they change everything. That's why it's interesting, because this is a tool we have access to. And if we want to change the world, we will need to change the way people are thinking. And it's Einstein who used to say, you don't solve a problem with the same state of mind that created it. So if we want to solve the problem, we need to change our mind. And to change our mind, this is the shortcut. It's the faster way. The faster way. You can spend years in psychotherapy. You can spend years meditating progressively, blah, blah, blah. This is the shortcut. Within a very short time, poof, you're done.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, that's, it's kind of like jump frogging, right? Like years of therapy and years of hard work and years of, spiritual practice and all these kind of things. It can definitely take that. And breathwork is in the same vein as you alluded to as well already in your talk. So final question, why do you think there is a barrier between science and spirituality? And do you think we're going to see, I'm just going to add my part to this person's question, but do you think we'll see in our lifetime where that's going to become much more connected moving forward?
Yeah, the barrier is same thing, something from the past. At one point, we made a choice between science or spirituality. And as spirituality is not scientifically reproducible, you can do the same experiments you do with art science with spiritual experiences. So it doesn't match the box, but from the 70s now, and transpersonal psychology, that's the psychology created by Stan Grof and Abraham Maslow, the one I've learned with Stan Grof, because I got very lucky to learn with him. This psychology is linking actually what is not usually linked, like spirituality and science, tradition and modernity, Eastern and Western traditions. And now we have science going and working for us. That's the interesting thing, because since we discovered all these things in quantum science, in quantum physics is explaining consciousness, is explaining things we thought that were science fiction or psychic things. It's becoming science, because the world of the infinitely small is completely different of the world of normal matter. It doesn't act at all the same. And there are few experiments I would recommend you check, like the double slit experiment or the spooky connection. This explains that consciousness comes first, then matter exists afterward. And the spooky connection explains that everything is linked. Every particle of the universe is linked, still linked. And if you act on one, it will act at distance to the other one without transmission of information, without time. And so if we go back to the origin, to the Big Bang, everything was linked at one point in a single dot that was infinitely dense and hot. And from there, the whole universe happened. So everything that's being linked at one point is still connected. So everything is still connected. And this is hard science. So yeah, they are linked and they are coming together again.
Yeah, which I think is very exciting, because yeah, once we understand the science and we can trust in that, and then we can understand, you know, some of these phenomenons a little bit more for those who need that extra cognitive reasoning, I guess. Well, Thomas, thank you so much. That was really amazing. I really enjoyed. Thank you so much. So now. Yes, thank you. Now we're going to be moving on to our second section for this evening with the beautiful Mariam. She's a Kundalini yoga, breathwork, and meditation, and also a student within an Asian shamanic lineage of sacred feminine. She weaves her passion for our beautiful planet with her work of raising consciousness. And I had the great pleasure of meeting her last year in the Arctic on an expedition that we were both in. So we're really thrilled that she can join us here today. She's actually tuning in from the Middle East. So let's give Mariam a very warm welcome and handing over to you. I don't think we can hear you, Mariam. Sorry, just small tech. Can you speak again? No. Hello? Can't hear you. Can we maybe disconnect the headphones? Just give us a moment. Small technical issue, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Can you try to speak again, Mariam?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you now. Great. Okay, so we're just waiting a second, but yeah, Mariam is normally based in the UK, but right now she's in the Middle East, and she's going to be doing a very nice session for us in a moment, as soon as we just get the technology up and running. But as I said, she's done some amazing stuff, and she's we're very excited about her session today. So I think is that working now?
Can you hear me properly now?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Hi everyone, thank you for bearing with me with that little technical glitch. I just wanted to extend a very big thank you for this fascinating talk by Thomas this afternoon, evening, depending where you are. I'm in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and I'm a Kundalini yoga, breathwork and meditation teacher and student. And I am absolutely fascinated by this aspect, this intrinsic interconnectedness that Thomas named with consciousness, healing, and the absolute tangibility of the consciousness of the earth that is awakening at this moment. And that is absolutely something that Green is the New Black is bringing to the forefront at this time. And Today, I would like to introduce you to a system that has been a wonderful tool of healing in my life, and it's called Kundalini Yoga. So if you're new to it, it's a system that was brought to the West by a man called Yogi Bhajan in the early 70s. And when he made it there, he realized that a lot of young people were having quite expansive experiences with psychedelic drugs in festivals. And he realized that they were attaining such very high, sophisticated levels of consciousness. However, they weren't necessarily able to root them and ground them into their day-to-day, as you would probably with plant medicine from South America that has more of a container, more of an altar, more of a lineage that's been carried through for a very long time with very trained space holders. So in this context, in the 70s, there was this huge awakening of consciousness, and Yogi Bhajan decided that he was a yogic master at the age of 18, and he decided to share some tools, breathwork, meditation, mantra, and yoga that were only given to certain students once they reached a certain level. So for thousands and thousands of years, this Raj Yoga, this royal yoga, was only given to certain members of society and certain people who were considered to be at a stage where they can receive these teachings. And he was very fond of this term, the Aquarian Age, which is this age that we're in at now with perfect interconnectedness. And, you know, you're in Singapore, I'm in the Middle East, and someone's in Japan, and we can all have this very deep connection just through a screen. And, you know, people speak of teleporting, you know, we're in that now. This is it. And in the system of Kundalini Yoga, we work with the different bodies. We have the mental bodies, we have 3 of those. We have the soul body, we have the physical body. The physical body is just one of the 10 bodies. And the body number 9, which is what we're using right now, is the subtle body. So through my subtle body, I'm able to speak to you wherever you are, and you're able to receive this exchange of energy or of information in an emotive sense. So I thought that today we would have a live experience of what it is to feel a quick and immediate shift in about 15 minutes of your consciousness. For this, I will need your participation. So please do find a comfortable seat, either on the floor or in a chair, however you're comfortable. And we're going to rub our palms together, and we're just going to open with a sound. And this sound is Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. And it essentially is a mantra that connects you to your higher self, to that infinite source of consciousness that flows through at every moment. And it's a way that we always open in Kundalini Yoga. And it works by essentially these yogic codes that hit the roof of the mouth, palate of the mouth, with different sound vibrations from the tongue. And this allows your all parts of your brain to harmonize and balance and bring you to a state of peace. So we're just going to practice that now, if you wish to join me. And the sound is Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. If it's your first time doing it, feel free to just make the sounds as you hear them. Inhale deeply. And exhale. Let's inhale to tune in. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. 2 more times. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Last chance to join. Inhale. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Now inhale deeply. Pull the navel into the spine and feel the energy rise up from the sacrum at the base of your spine, all the way up your vertebra, up your neck into your crown. Hold the breath there. Exhale. And let's try that again. Inhale deeply, bringing the energy to the base of your spine, known as the center, the home of your Kundalini energy in the yogic system. And exhale, and keep breathing like that, bringing a strong swoop of energy through your breath to the base of your spine, rising it all the way into your crown. At Guru Name, Jagat Guru Name, Sat Guru Name, Sri Guru Deva Name. Adguru Name, Jagadguru Name, Satguru Name, Siddhigurudeva Name. Adguru Name, Jagadguru Name, Satguru Name, Siddhigurudeva Name. Now take a nice long deep last breath in. And exhale, relaxing your hands down. We're going to start today with an exercise called Chakrapan. And it's a short practice to give you a visceral understanding of this Kundalini energy, this energy that resides within you. And it works essentially on balancing the nervous system and the glandular system. So I'm going to invite you to make a little claw, like an eagle claw. And the example here is we're going to be making dough. We're going to be making little bundles of dough for your bread. So your hands always stay parallel to the ground. And I'm going to invite you to begin this fast movement. And the hands are up by the shoulders. And we're just going to be here making this fast movement, circling the hands around. And doing this movement with the hands, in Kundalini Yoga, we tend to overwhelm the nervous system and the glandular system and the whole body in order for there to be more space for something deeper to circulate through. So we're just going to close our eyes and try and focus them between the eyebrows. This is activating what we refer to as the third eye center. But from a physiological perspective, this might be referred to as your pineal gland and your pituitary gland in the center of your brain. The breath is nice, long and deep, bringing that awareness to the base of the spine. Really make a claw, so your fingers are gripping. Got claw-like fingers, they're stiff. This is really important in this exercise in order to get the energy to move. So in the Kundalini system, we work on all elements of the body. And one of the ways that we have the ability to pierce through all the different layers of consciousness is with the breath, as Thomas was speaking about. And we really want you to invite the breath in at this moment in this practice. And now you're going to inhale very strongly, stiffen the fingers like a claw. And I'm going to invite you to squeeze what's known as your roots. So squeeze the anus, the sex organs, the navel, and roll the eyes up into your skull. Squeeze even tighter. And exhale. Give your hands a little shake. Good. Maybe you're already feeling a little bit more space, something a bit different. So bring your thumb to your pinky finger and extend, and you're going to squeeze it quite tightly. And you're going to extend your index finger, which we know to be the Jupiter finger, the finger ruled by the planet Jupiter in Kundalini Yoga. And I'm going to invite you to make little circles out in front of you. Now, in the Chinese Chinese medicine system, it's known that there are different meridian points in the body. And so we're working with exactly this. Today, we're working with a meridian point in the chest and in the just lower than the navel. And this is really going to allow for an experience of our Kundalini energy to be awakened. This energy that rules our point of spiritual connection with what is beyond the veil, what is beyond what we can see in this physical, limited reality. So you're making these small little circles. Your eyes are closed, focus at your third eye center. And maybe you're already feeling the base of the spine shaking and moving. And I would like you to start moving the hands in a way that makes the spine move. So breathing long and deep. The finger, the index finger, is connected to the medulla oblongata, which is at the base of your brainstem, which controls autonomic nervous function and allows your sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system to come into a balance. So this is your point of reactivity in life, whether you're on edge or whether you can maintain a stress-free, calm, non-reactive state of being. So we're in our last few seconds, keep going. And inhale, stretch. And exhale, give your hands a little shake. Rolling out your shoulders. So that was just an exercise to activate the different parts of our brain. Now we're going to come into a breathwork technique. And in order for this to work, we really need the angle to be correct. So get the angle right. Your elbow should be just right in a parallel line with your shoulders, and your right arm is going to cover over your left. And the only reason you would go gentle on this is if you're on the first 3 days of your menstruation, or if you're pregnant, you could just breathe slowly. Otherwise, we're going to be breathing a 12-stroke breath. So that's 12 small inhales through the nose, 12 small exhales through the nose. So you're taking 12 little sniffs in, 12 little sniffs out. Eyes are closed, focus between the eyebrows, allowing the energy to come into the center of your brain. So when we breathe in this way, we allow the body to come into a state of balance and harmony. 12 little sniffs in, 12 little sniffs out. And we're going to be here for a little while, so really get that angle of your elbow nice and correct and keep breathing in this way, meditating to the sound of your breath. So when we breathe in this way, we really allowed any experiences, any stories, any trauma that have been stored in the body that we don't usually have access to with our normal state of mind, our normal consciousness. Keep breathing. So these get stored in the back of our skull, in the cerebrum, and when we breathe in this way, we allow for a harmony and a balance to occur, and we allow for an experience of our stored stories, our stored traumas to come out and to heal. So keep breathing, 12 inhales, 12 exhales. If it's your first time doing a breath work, this might require a little bit more focus, keeping your spine straight, really having your arms up there. If you hang in there with us, you will be guaranteed an experience of clarity and of spaciousness just in a few minutes. Seeing if the breaths can be a bit more punctuated. So we're in the science of angles and triangles in Kundalini Yoga, really keeping those arms nice and straight like a yogi, inhaling and exhaling through the nose, through 12 punctuated breaths. So this is a very powerful, purifying breath for the lungs, which expands our immunity, which is something that is quite important in this time. And if there's a lot of toxin in the body, mind, or soul, so if there's a state of disharmony in your life, usually, you might be experiencing a little bit more resistance, or you might be experiencing some lightheadedness just as this clears. So I invite you just to breathe through it. We're moving through some deep emotional, psychological blocks. Just got a few more minutes left here. Keep the breath going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Inhales and exhales. Got 2 more minutes here, so really focus the breath in and out. Perhaps you're already feeling a sense of expansiveness. In this time, if you don't have a meditation or breathwork practice every day, I really recommend looking online for some Kundalini yoga practices that can support you, because in just 5 minutes, as we're about to experience, we're able to shift something quite major. So keep breathing. We're in our last bit now. The meridian of the heart extends all the way into the fingertips. So we want to really allow that expansion to happen right now. Got 90 seconds left. If you've taken a break, feel free to jump back in. This energy is beginning to rise from the base of your spine. This is your channel. This is your sword of consciousness between this realm and the infinite source of consciousness. Keep on breathing. And depending on your cosmology, the infinite source of consciousness might as well be something that is just stored in your being, in your very being, in your cells, in your nerves. In the last little moment here, keep breathing deeper, so take the breath even stronger. Now I invite you to take the 12 strokes as strong as possible for the last few breaths. Last one. Keeping the hands where they are, inhale strongly. Hold in the anus, the rectum, the sex organs, the navel, straight spine, back of your neck is long, roll the eyes up between the eyebrows. Hold that force in, squeeze. Keep the arms there, exhale, relax completely. Let's inhale like that again. Inhale, pull the root, pull the navel, roll up the eyes, feeling that expansion in your being. Exhale, Last time, feeling that channel, that pure force of your being, activating, opening the high centers of your brain, knowing that the infinite expanse of consciousness resides within you. And exhale, give your hands a nice little shake out. Just rest your hands in your knees. If you'd like to lock your fingers in Gyan Mudra, thumb and index finger touching. Otherwise, you can just keep them open. This allows the energy to circulate and balance. And just breathing very slowly on the inhale and exhale. So breathing maybe up to 20 seconds. Holding the breath at the top and exhaling. This allows this experience to really anchor and seal in your practice. So just sitting in stillness, feeling any movement in the physical body, feeling whether there's been any change. If you suffer from anxiety, this is a powerful breath tool that you can use in your day-to-day. I'm just feeling whether there's been any stillness. And without further ado, we're going to rub our palms together and we're going to seal in this practice with 3 long sounds. The sound is Sat Nam. So pressing your thumb into the center. Sat Nam meaning truth is my name, truth is my identity, the truth that's been true throughout all the ages. Inhale deeply. Sat Nam. 2 more times. Sat Nam. Last time, inhale. Sat Nam. Bringing your thumbs to your third eye center, center of your forehead, and just giving a prayer and a blessing to yourself for your practice. And sending that out to the world, expanding your arms up, giving a little shake. Moving any energy and presence in yourself back in your day. I hope this breath technique has served you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really amazing. I love Kundalini Yoga. I'm a massive fan, but I have never done it sitting in a chair. So that was really a beautiful way to end the day and really nice to actually get the energy shifting and moving in our bodies. So thank you so much for joining us and for that beautiful practice. If anyone wants to revisit, this video will stay on Green is New Black's channel, so you can always come back and do it again with Mariam, especially that breathing if you're having a moment of anxiousness or stress and need to release it. So if you've attended one of our events before or you followed us online, you know that we're very big on action. So it's all very well and good to sit and enjoy, but we actually need to take action. So if you'd like to take one today, we encourage you to go to our website, hit the take action button, and you can actually make a pledge to commit to a little green step to continue your sustainability journey. And we will keep nudging you to make sure that you're going to implement that step. We have a couple of announcements now. We have our very first virtual Conscious Festival coming up on the 12th, 13th, and 14th of June. We're super excited because we have an amazing lineup of speakers, workshop facilitators, musicians, artists, all coming together online. We've got speakers from companies like Lush, IKEA, WWF, Caring, Project Drawdown, Extinction Rebellion. So please, the link will be shared in the comment section of this video. So please do join us for that event. And each week we like to do a little shout out to a brand who is doing something really amazing. And this week we are shouting out to a brand called Muse, who have a smart system for reusable takeaway containers. They are based in both Singapore, Hong Kong, and San Francisco. And for our audiences who are based in those places, you can basically, get delivery to your house in a reusable box, and they will come and collect it back afterwards with your next delivery. So there is no single-use plastic used and no waste. So you can enjoy your delicious delivery food with no waste, which is amazing. So definitely go check out their app. The link is also shared in the comment section below. So that is all that we have for you this week. We hope to see you at our virtual Conscious Festival and our next online session right here. Thank you from all of us at Green is the New Black. And again, a huge thank you to Thomas and Mariam for sharing their wonderful knowledge and time with us today. Thanks, everyone. We will see you next time.